Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing a video about the top 12 contemporary books that I am most excited for in 2017. I decided to split up this video into contemporary and fantasy because there are just too many books that I'm excited about and I can't narrow down my list, so I figured that I would give you a more in-depth look at two different genres. That way you will be able to see like a lot of different things that are coming out and some things that might be overshadowed on some other lists, just because I feel like people tend to talk about the same kind of books and I just want to shine some light on some other ones that I'm really excited for. So here we go. The first book on my list is By Your Side by Casey West. This novel comes out on January 31st of 2017. I'm going to be telling you in order the ones that are coming out. It follows a girl named Autumn who accidentally gets trapped inside of the library for a weekend, but she's not the only one that's in there. There also happens to be this guy named Dax, and she doesn't seem to know too much about him except that there are all these rumors about him, that he's kind of like a troublemaker. So she's kind of bitter about being stuck in the library with this guy, and she keeps hoping that her almost boyfriend will realize that she's missing and come and save her, but unfortunately no one's coming, and unfortunately the two of them are going to be stuck in this library together, and she just kind of has to come to terms with it, and that's that. The next book on my list is 7 Days of You by Cecilia Venice. This book comes out on March 7th of 2017, and it follows a girl named Sophia, and Sophia has 7 days left in Tokyo before she moves back to the United States. So she has to spend these 7 days like saying goodbye to everything, like saying goodbye to Tokyo the city, saying goodbye to the friends that she's made there, and also in those 7 days, this guy named Jamie is going to be arriving in Tokyo, and the two of them have a history together. It turns out that like a lot of the things that Sophia thought were like stable in her life tend to kind of be falling apart, and Jamie seems to be the one that is helping her pick up the pieces during this last week in Tokyo, and there's kind of a romance forming, but they really only have 7 days together because she's leaving and he just arrived, so it's just like a cute contemporary about Tokyo, which is like obviously why I'm so excited about it, but also just to see like if anything could happen between these two people, knowing that there is this 7-day expiration date on their relationship. Next on my list is Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett. This comes out on April 4th of 2017, and I'm really excited for this one because it is a YA retelling of You've Got Mail. So it also has a love-to-hate relationship, which those are really fun to read about. It follows this girl named Bailey who like kind of slowly falls in love online with this guy named Alex. They live on like opposite sides of the country though, but she ends up moving to California, which is where he lives. But she doesn't tell him that she has moved to his coast because she starts to be concerned about like maybe he's like a creep or whatever. So she doesn't want to tell him that she's there, but she ends up moving to his town and she gets a job at a museum, and she slowly starts being like harassed by this guy named Porter who is a guard there. Not like harassed like in a, you know, in a bad way. Like he just won't leave her alone, and in the You've Got Mail kind of way where like she kind of hates this guy, but then they totally will end up loving each other. So the two of them work at this museum together and they actually get trapped in there overnight. And I think that's when her feelings probably start to change about him. So they get locked together overnight and then her feelings for him start changing, and then Bailey has to decide whether she wants to hang on to this like fantasy about this guy that she's in love with online, or if she wants to possibly pursue a relationship with this guy in person that she doesn't necessarily, like she hasn't really liked, but now she's starting to a little bit have feelings for. And then I don't like that they necessarily tell you this in the description, but it says it in the synopsis of the novel, and I guess it could be interesting like knowing this going in, but apparently Porter actually is Alex, who is the guy online that she's been talking to. So he actually is both people, which is definitely going to make for an interesting story. Next on my list is The Upside of Unrequited. This is by Becky Albertelli and it comes out on April 11th. So it follows this pair of twins named Molly and Cassie. Cassie is very, I think, like open with her heart, and Cassie's a lesbian and she ends up like getting completely lovesick over this new girl that's in her life. And Molly is heavy and she is very like unsure of herself and feels like she needs to be careful about falling in love with people. So she's never really opened herself up to like finding a relationship, and Cassie constantly tells her that she should just woman up and go for it. So it's all about unrequited love, obviously. But the girl that Cassie ends up dating, she has some kind of hipster guy friend that apparently, it says in the description, comes along as an accessory. So Molly then finally like considers the opportunity of potentially like charming this guy and getting her first kiss and potentially falling in love. But there's also a little bit of a triangle going on. It says that Molly works with a kind of chubby guy named Reed, and he is a Tolkien fan who has a season pass to the Ren Fair, and it says there's no way she could fall in love with him, right? But I think that there probably is. Next on my list is Fireworks by Katie Cotugno. This book comes out on April 18th. It follows a girl who is in competition with her best friend. It takes place during the 90s, and they're both trying to become like the most famous it pop star of the time. And I really am looking forward to this one because number one, Katie Cotugno is such a great writer, and number two, like this is the era that I grew up during, the whole like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera stuff. So I love that that has like all the vibes of that. And it takes place in Orlando, Florida. So there's one girl, Olivia, who was kind of the one that was always like meant for stardom, and Dana is her best friend. She was always there to help like cheer her on, and to just be like her support and everything. She never wanted fame or anything like that. But at one audition that they go to, Dana ends up getting discovered as well, and then the two girls end up competing against each other. So obviously like emotions are kind of running high. Things seem to be changing for Dana. This is Olivia's dream that she's always wanted, and for Dana, she's now seeing this as kind of like an escape from the future that is like the other possible path for her. And then the girls probably end up getting into some fights if they're both competing to be number one. But I have no doubt that it's going to be amazing because I really love Katie Cotugno, and she is just like the master of complicated issues. So I'm really looking forward to this one. The next one on my list is Always and Forever, Lara Jean. This comes out on May 2nd. It's by Jenny Han, and it is the unexpected third book in the Now trilogy of To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I can't really tell you too much about the synopsis since it's the third book in the series, so I don't want to ruin anything that's happened in the previous books because they basically tell you exactly what it is in the synopsis. But I can tell you that Lara Jean is in a relationship with someone, and it's gotten to that point where college is on the horizon and they need to kind of make decisions about their futures and if they have a future together. And I just can't wait because I just really love those books. So to have a third one when we were only supposed to have two is just like the most exciting thing ever, and I just like, I can't wait. Next on my list is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This one comes out on May 30th. And what really gripped me about this one is that they're pitching it as The Breakfast Club meets Pretty Little Liars. So it's about a group of teens who all go, there's 5 of them that all go to detention together, but only 4 of them walk out of there. So obviously every single person that was in this detention is a potential suspect, and each character fits into that stereotypical mold that you know so well from The Breakfast Club. And Simon is the outcast, and he is the one that does not make it out of detention. It seems like Simon had plans to release lots of secrets about these 4 people that he was stuck in detention with the day after he dies. So that's why each of the other 4 is such a like top suspect in the case, but also it could potentially be that there is another killer on the loose, and they are misleading the police by making it seem like it could be one of these 4 people when it also could be someone else. So I love a good mystery, and I think that this one will be really good. Next on my list is When Dimple Met Rishi by Santia Menon, and I'm probably saying that really wrong, and I'm so sorry about that, but I'm terrible at pronouncing things. And this book comes out on May 30th. It's about 2 Indian American teens whose parents have arranged for them to get married. One of them's named Dimple, one of them's named Rishi. Dimple is really looking forward to kind of getting away from her family and getting away from the constant expectation that she's supposed to find the perfect Indian husband. And her parents pay for her to go to a camp over the summer for web developers. So she thinks that there's a lot of promise there, but then finds out that her parents have arranged this marriage for her. And then there's Rishi, who is a hopeless romantic, and when his parents tell him that his future wife is going to be attending the same camp for web developers and that he has to win her heart there, he is like 100% into it and cannot wait to woo this girl. Rishi is someone that believes in the power of tradition, and he has always wanted an arranged marriage for his whole life and to have stability. So the parents planned this marriage, but they didn't expect expect for them to meet so early on in life, but since they both were interested in this same summer program, that's why they kind of like started pushing things between them so they would get a chance to know each other. And it's supposed to be a very cute YA contemporary romance, and I am so on board for this. Next is I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maureen Gu, and this also comes out on May 30th. This story follows a girl named Desi who is one of those kind of type A people. She's gotten straight A's her entire life. She's going to Stanford. She knows how to be like a mechanic on cars. She can do CPR. She's pretty much like a superstar in everything except for romance. She's never had a boyfriend, and she's basically a hot mess when it comes to relationships. Then this really hot boy walks into her life, and she decides to tackle romance with the same like enthusiasm and the same like thirst for learning that she does with everything else in her life, and she decides to get all of her lessons for flirting from K-dramas. She calls it her K-drama rules for true love. Then she goes for this guy named Luca, who's kind of like a brooding artist, and the two of them start interacting more, and there's lots of drama and feelings and love, and it just sounds really cute. And I love that she's getting all of her love advice from a K-drama, or from multiple K-dramas. Next on my list is Perfect 10 by Elle Phillips. This comes out on June 6th. This book sounds like it's gonna be a little bit ridiculous, and you can probably also gather that from the cover since there's a person wearing like a unicorn head. But it follows a guy named Sam who he broke up with the only other eligible gay man in his high school, so he's been in a giant love drought for like 2 years now, and then his best friend Sam, who is a Wiccan, suggests that they cast a love spell, and Sam is kind of desperate, and he's like, you know what, fine, let's do that. So he comes up with a list of 10 traits that he wants his next boyfriend to have, and then him and his best friend go to a cemetery and they burn that list on Friday the 13th. And then all of a sudden, there are 3 very attractive men who are all interested in Sam, and they all seem to exhibit those 10 traits. And then it also seems at that point that Sam's ex-boyfriend kind of wants another chance too. So all of a sudden, Sam has turned into this like love magnet, and he's gonna have to make a choice between these people and kind of decide if a perfect person with these 10 traits even exists. So it sounds really cute. Next on my list is Summer Unscripted by Jen Klein. I am so excited for this one because I just read her book from last year, which is called Shuffle Repeat, and that was one of the cutest contemporary stories ever, and it's like one of my top favorite contemporaries at this point. So I'm really looking forward to see what she is going to be doing next. She's actually a writer on Grey's Anatomy, which is interesting. I did not know that, but fun fact. This book is all about missed connections and how not to miss out on the love of your life, so it sounds like it's gonna be super adorable. So it follows this girl named Rain, who is someone who's always been like a little bit into certain things, but she gives up on them very easily, and she sees that like the rest of her friends all have a very strong passion, and she's always wanted that for herself, so she ends up like meeting this guy named Tuck, and he gives this speech about just completely like about the way that she's been feeling, and then she decides that Tuck must be her passion. So she starts following him around, and then a second boy appears, and this boy is very different from the first boy. He has a very troubled past, and the two of them start working together, and I think that she's probably gonna start feeling feelings for that boy as well, and then she kind of has to decide which boy it is that she really is meant to be with. The final book on my list is Hello Sunshine by Layla Howland, and this book comes out on July 11th. This one, again, I am so excited for it because Layla Howland wrote another like set of my favorite contemporaries, which is the Nantucket Blue, Nantucket Red duology. I really, really love those, and she came out with a middle grade book this year, but next year she's going back to YA and she's coming out with a new YA book, and I'm just so excited because I really, really love that duology, so I can't wait to see what she's gonna do. I was just like totally on board. So Hello Sunshine follows a girl named Becca who goes to a prep school, and she's always kind of had the dream of wanting to be an actor, and then it's getting to be like the end of the year, and every single college that she has applied to has rejected her, so she decides to give herself a year to move across the country, I think, to LA, and try her hand at acting and getting a gig and stuff. So she does that, but things are not really going her way. She's having a lot of tough luck. She's not able to find an agent. She's not able to find any jobs. She's running out of money, and her mom keeps like hounding her about applying to more colleges so that she can do that instead of, you know, just racking up the credit card bills in LA. So then her and her friend, I think who lives next door to her, they decide to just start filming some short videos to release online just as like a fun thing between them. And then they catch the attention of a TV producer, and while I don't think that things are going to go exactly how she planned with becoming like a big Hollywood star, she does spend the book kind of finding out that there are lots of different ways to achieve your dreams. And it just sounds really cute, and I can't wait to read it. So those are all the contemporaries on my list for that I am like most excited to read in 2017. I announced all of them in the order of release date in order to like make it easier for you. The last one was released in July, so there's a chance that I might do another video in July to talk about the books that I'm most excited for the second half of the year. But I'm also doing a video about the top 10 fantasy books that I'm most looking forward to for next year, because again, I decided to split these into 2 videos because there's just so much that I want to read that I can't. 10 is too low a number. So that's all that I have for this video. So let me know if there are any that I mentioned that you're excited for. Maybe you haven't heard of some of them before and I told you about them, because I love being able to like share books that people haven't heard of. So let me know down below, and let me know if there are any that you're looking forward to that I didn't have on my list, because I'm also always looking for new stuff. So I will talk to you guys down below in the comments, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!